Thursday, Thanksgiving football. Mike Tirico will call the Thanksgiving night game between Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. Listen to Mike Tirico on NBC Sports Radio, the 24/7 live sports talk network. You can listen to it at NBCSportsRadio.com and download the NBC Sports Radio mobile app today. And we heard him on Sunday Night Football. Mike, good to have you back in the booth and back here on the Sports Bash. How are you?
Good to be in both places. I'm doing great. How are you, Mike?
Very good. And I do want to get your thoughts on that game because here in Philadelphia, the NFC East, we all have our eyes on it. The Eagles at 5-5 in last place. And one of the reasons at 5-5 they're in last place is because the other three teams keep winning. And you saw the Washington Redskins up close and personal the other night. What did you think?
They're good. I still think they've got issues in their secondary, and I think the top of those issues would be at their safety position. But I like the way they're playing at the linebacker spot, defensive front, and offensively. You know, you don't need to be a football aficionado to know they're executing at a high level. Green Bay's defense is beat up, but I like the way Cousins is playing, the ball he's throwing, the decisions he's making. The run game is going now. And remember, they did that without their best lineman. Trent Williams has been out 2 weeks here. So they're going to get better there. If they stay healthy, I love what Washington's doing. I would say for me right now, I think Washington's a little bit better than the Giants. Very tough turnaround, go from Sunday night to Thursday on the road at Dallas. So even though Washington probably will come back a bit to the rest of the group, I still think they're the second-best team for the moment in the NFC East.
Yeah, it seems to switch a lot. I do want to get your take also on Green Bay. They will be in Philly coming up on Monday Night Football this coming Monday, and Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, I feel like they're the team that everyone's just like, hey, it's the Packers, they're going to turn it around. Do you get that impression seeing them up close and personal?
I don't, and it has nothing to do with Aaron. They are so depleted on the defensive end. They're young there. They don't have their game-changing players making game-changing plays, injuries, and other reasons. I just don't know where they're going to find the defensive backs. I mean, they need some help back in the secondary, and they've lost more players in that game on Sunday night. Offensively, I think they need to establish a run game. Getting Christian Michael as part of the team will be good. Getting their offensive line back as whole. They have a couple of injuries up there, but it's not Rodgers in the offense. They're scoring 25, 27 points a game the last four in this losing streak. So for the most part, I think it falls back on the defense, and I don't think they have the people there. So the Eagles, if they have a good game in terms of execution and imagination with offense, will have a great chance to get to 6-5. And if Washington doesn't go down to beat Dallas, that'll just have you in a half game back of Washington and a couple games back of the Giants here trying to keep pace, because you would assume the Giants are going to win that game that they have coming up this week in Cleveland.
Mike Tirico, NBC Sports. He'll have the call Thanksgiving night of Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. Thanksgiving Day, you'll get a chance to keep your eye on, I'm sure, the Dallas Cowboys, who, hard-fought win. The Ravens jumped out on them. Do you see Dallas slowing down? Do you see a weakness in Dallas? Or do you, Mike, think they are the most complete team now in the NFL?
In the NFC, for sure. I still like what New England has over there in the AFC. And let's not discount Seattle. I think there's a bright, bold line that I would put after those three teams. And I don't know for the moment what I would put them in terms of what order. But Dallas, Seattle, and New England, to me, the teams I've seen are just a notch above the others right now. And I know Oakland won last night in Mexico City. I saw them play Denver. I was impressed by them. They've won 4 in a row. They've lost 2 games to Atlanta and Kansas City, are 2 good teams. So I like Oakland a lot. I just don't know if Oakland is on that level with these other 3 teams. But there's nothing to back me off of Dallas. Baltimore is a good run defense, a very solid team, and they gave Dallas a good game, I thought. But Dallas is just better. And the Washington game, they go to Minnesota on a Thursday night with a full week off here in between, and then they go to the Giants. After that, Tampa, Detroit at home, and then the game in Philly Week 17 might not mean anything. So a lot on the line here for Dallas, and they look pretty good to me right now.
Mike Tirico with us. Let's look inside the NFC East at the Giants then, who, down 16-6, came out like gangbusters in that second half, held off the Bears. You mentioned they play the Browns. You had Washington ahead of them right now, but do the Giants still have the look of maybe that second wild card team?
They certainly can win that second wild card. There's no doubt. They can win either one at this point. I just think right now, for the moment, I like what I see with Washington. I think the Giants are coming around a little bit. I don't know if the Giants can run the ball as effectively as the Redskins can. The Giants are starting to get what I thought was missing, which is a little bit of a pass rush. JPP is playing better. Olivier Vernon's playing better. And their linebacking play, which has been devoid of Pro Bowl level play for years now, has been better, I think, this season. I love what Landon Collins is doing in the back end as safety, maybe having one of the better defensive seasons in the NFL. So the money they spent on defense is starting to pay off here a little bit. They're coming along. I thought the game against Chicago was a little bit of a letdown. You beat Cincinnati on Monday night. It was a tight game. You win the game by going for it on fourth down early in the fourth quarter. And that move by Ben McAdoo to get, instead of to 2017, but to take a 21-20 lead and then hold on, may have built some confidence in that team. Chicago maybe overlooked that team a little bit, same with Cleveland this week. But then they've got Pittsburgh and Dallas back-to-back. So we're going to get a little sense of how good they are coming up in the next 2 weeks after we all assume they get to 8-3 by beating Cleveland in Ohio on Sunday.
Sit around with the family, listen to Mike Tirico on Thursday night, Thanksgiving, Pittsburgh, Indy. He'll also have that Kansas City-Denver showdown and the Eagles-Giants Thursday night matchup. You'll hear Mike Tirico on that. When you talk about Philly and the Giants right now, what do you think separates those two teams? How close are they? And do you think that Thursday night game is going to be maybe a playoff type of game for both those teams?
I hope it is. I hope we get down to Christmas week and that last Thursday night game of the year is for one team to clinch a playoff berth or not. Hey, the difference right now is your experience at quarterback, among other places, and wide receiver. Look at the Giants' 3 receivers that they put out compared to Philly's. Look at Eli Manning and his pedigree compared to Carson Wentz. You can't expect everybody to be finished product immediately. Carson's done good things this year. I think he's going to continue to do good things as the season goes on. He's not ready at that elite level to have the experience of played in Super Bowls, won Super Bowls, played in a lot of big games. He's getting that. That doesn't mean they can't win games here along the way. I just think if you're looking for a line of demarcation and difference right now, that pass game of the Giants is a little more experienced, a little bit more solid, and just a notch above where Philadelphia is. Now, can the Eagles continue to build a game on the ground to complement Ertz, play well, get the receivers going a bit? You look at these next few games, the situation in Green Bay and Cincinnati looks a lot worse now than it did when the schedule came out.
Sure does.
You got a chance here, but you get those two to get to 7-5, and then you got right there in your hands the division: Washington, the Giants, and Dallas all coming to your place. So they certainly will have the opportunity if they can take care of business.
Yes.
The next 2 weeks.
Yeah, Mike, I think at the beginning of the season, Green Bay, Cincinnati looked like possible division winners. You're right about how they have changed so much. But that's the NFL we live in. Things change week to week. And Mike Tirico, Thanksgiving, big one for Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. Indy with the win over Tennessee this week. Pittsburgh beats the Browns. You'll hear Mike Tirico on Thanksgiving night. And he'll also, reminder, Eagles-Giants fans, he'll have that game on Thursday night, Giants and Eagles. We've been visiting with Mike Tirico from NBC Sports here on the Sports Bash. Mike, happy Thanksgiving to you, and we appreciate a couple minutes. We'll be listening and watching Thursday night.
Thanks. You guys have a great holiday as well. Appreciate being on with you, Mike.